Good evening and welcome to what is the final extra time show of what has been a mad, crazy season. No fans, so much has happened, but also it's the end of an era with obviously the surprise announcement a couple of days ago that Nuno Espirito Santo would be leaving the club. We'll get delving into that. And it's his last game today, and it's been an emotional day. So welcome to everyone, and welcome to my co-host for the show, Amy. Amy, how are you today? How are you feeling? I know Amy's in a different place today because you went on a hen do and you've dislocated your leg playing bubble football. Is that not right?
Yeah, well, the leg is back in one piece. It's just not right. So I'm currently lying on the sofa with ice on my knee, which is fantastic. Just to add to the weekend's events. But yeah, other than that, all good. I think it was obviously a shock on Friday. I think obviously I didn't join the show on Wednesday evening after the Everton game because of work. But if you'd have told me this time last week that Nuno's last game would have been today, I honestly wouldn't have believed you. I know there's obviously been a lot of talk, and there's obviously been a bit of a Nuno out camp for the last 6 months, really. But I'm still in shock. I still feel like it's a bit of a bad dream. But I think you've got to try to reason myself with it in my head a little bit. And I think my mum's always said with sports professionals and of such, it's always better to go out on top. And I know that maybe the last this season hasn't gone as everyone has planned it to, but the year as such hasn't either. And I think I'd rather him to leave with good memories than for it to turn sour, I think is what I've come to the conclusion of it all. So I think that's what I'm taking away from it.
When I messaged you, when I FaceTimed you actually,
yes.
Which you know from FaceTiming you, then it's obviously a major thing. And you said yourself like you'd had a few tears, quite emotional. I think you know what, it's not a weakness for a bloke to say he shed a few tears about it. Either we've all got emotions and stuff like that, and you know, if you can't be emotional about a man that's had such integrity, that's led this team from where it is to where it is now, and always acted with dignity no matter what the situation, and to be sad about his leaving, and to be reminiscing of all the fantastic memories, shared memories you've had with all the fans and the journeys we have, then you're not human, I don't think.
No, I think it's just this shot. It was very unexpected. I think that's probably what's taken a lot of people by surprise of how unexpected it was. Well, it is. So yeah, I don't know. It's just someone just said numb, pride. I think everyone's feeling a bit like that today. I think you just didn't expect it. I think we all thought it's been a bit of a tough season. He's been dealt some quite difficult situations with injuries. Obviously, the last season taking effect. But yeah, I don't know. Something a bit odd about it to me.
I've gone with you. I've gone through we've got some fantastic guests. I'm going to say we're going to get onto them real quick, but I've been through the absolute shock and disbelief. I was on a Zoom call with work, and I missed the initial announcement. My dad, he's just about learned how to FaceTime. I got missed calls off my dad, and my dad was like in a state when I rang him back. He's like, "Have you heard about Nuno?" I was like, "What?" I couldn't believe it. So I was in shock and disbelief. Obviously, we did a really good show with some great guests to talk about Nuno the evening. Obviously, it was mutual consent. Then it's come out that Fosun had sort of pulled the plug. Nuno has stuck to the line. There must be a non-disclosure agreement in there, so we can't really say anything more. And that sort of turned to an annoyance and angry, because I was like, like many of us, I know there's people out there that we're calling for Nuno to go, and I can completely accept anyone's sort of ideas in terms of they're respecting their opinions, but some people do take it too far in the nastiness way they do it. But there's lots of circumstances, and I believed he was the man to take us forward this year. And then I've kind of gone through the denial stage, to the accept. It's like grief. You go through all these stages, and I think that's where I'm at now. So I'm going to kick on because there's people. We've got a full green room. Just to let you know, already in the green room, we've got Paul, Manny, Statman Speedy, Dan from Bangkok. We've got Craig. We've got John Taylor, who's new. We've got Wolfman Jeff. We've got Thomas. And we've got other people that are trying to get in, but the room's full at the moment. So if you are trying to get in, just be patient. You will get to have your say. So we're going to kick on. I'm just going to change the background, Amy. And we're going to go open up with a friend of the show. Top bloke, and we're going to bring on Paul, always talk sense, to start off as our first guest tonight. Welcome, Paul.
Good evening, both. And good evening to everyone that's tuned in tonight.
And just before we get started, Paul, I do need to say a thank you to our partners, Spider VPN, who basically support the show. So thank you for them for making this possible, to pay for the software to run the show. So, Paul, how are you feeling, mate? I mean, we'll talk about the game, but obviously Nuno's going to dominate tonight. What are your emotions like?
A mix of all kinds of things going on. Sadness, disappointment, bit of anger as well, maybe towards Fosun, and also worry as well. And people say, you know, where do we go from here? It feels like all the momentum that we've built up over the past 3 years had seeped away a little bit this year. But in my mind, I was thinking, okay, we'll have a good break over the summer, do some good business in a transfer window. We've got a top-class manager. Things will pick up again.
Yeah.
The captain of the ship has departed. You do worry about next season. Obviously, it could end up being an opportunity. We could get a fantastic new manager. We could get some amazing players join us in the transfer window. But at the moment, I do feel really sad, because he's a man that I really respect, not just as a manager, but as a bloke as well, as a man. I think he's such a fantastic role model to the people in our city for the way that he carries himself, his passion, his community spirit, his humbleness. All those things make him such a good role model. So we're going to miss him as a manager, because he's amazing at that job. But we're also going to miss him as a man, and as I said, as a
I think just touching on a few comments there, Paul, I think that was my first initial. I sometimes overthink everything as soon as I hear news news that maybe isn't good news. And my first thing was like, right, that's it. It's going to be it's going to be the demise of Wolves again now. And just like going back to, I was always a very big Mick McCarthy fan, and it just took me back to that day after we lost against the Albion 5-1, and I was at uni. My mum rang me and she's like, Mick McCarthy's gone. And then that was just kind of like started the spiral of everything. And then you kind of feel like that we hit the bottom with that. Well, not right bottom, but quite low, quite near the bottom. And then it was kind of Nuno was our shining light and has brought so much to like all of Wolves fans in the city and everything. And I think you just instantly, I was like, well, he's going to go, all the players are going to go, all the staff are going to go, the club's just going to completely change again now. So it's that fear of change that you feel a bit like, oh God. But like you say, it could be an opportunity, there could be someone better, you just don't know, do you?
Do you know what, Paul? What you said about the emotions that you covered off there, the way you said it, I've spoken to so many people, I've had so many comments on my videos, and virtually to a person, that's the emotion that the vast majority of people have been saying. All of those emotions that you talked about, you know, because I got absolutely hammered on Twitter by some people for basically putting my feelings out there and my genuine concerns about what could happen next. And I hope that they get it right, because if it goes wrong, and the start of next season and it doesn't go well, you can see a lot of people turning against the owners because of this decision. And for that, I've been told, get a life, get a grip. We support the club, not the manager, not the coach. Well, and I said it felt like that the beating heart and soul of the club had been ripped out. That's how the initial feel, because Nuno was the heart and soul of this team. Someone pointed out the beating heart and soul of the club is the fans, and that is true. But like of this team, Nuno's built it along with, I'm not anti-Fosun or anything like that, but you do worry because I think younger fans, especially new fans, they haven't been through the pain and seen all these things that have scarred us from the past, of like what Amy was saying about the McCarthy era and where we ended up because we made the wrong decision at the wrong time. I think McCarthy, they probably should have let him go the year before when he went, but it was a snap job after the Albion. They had no plan. So you do hope that, and I expect that Fosun do have a plan, but you hope it goes well, because if it doesn't go well and things do go the wrong way, and I fear about some of the players because they were so invested in Nuno and his plan and his vision and loyalty, that they will also say, well, maybe this is my time now to move on, because they haven't got that emotional attachment. And when you tear a team up and it all starts breaking up and you build a new team, it doesn't necessarily work. And I know how fickle some of these fans were that were calling for Nuno out, and respect their opinion completely. I understand the performances haven't been great, but I think there's circumstances behind that. But how much patience will they have with the new person coming in before they turn? And that's the worry, because it could all get very toxic again, like it was after the McCarthy thing. And that's what I think that's the worry.
Yeah, completely right. And I probably missed out the biggest emotion that I've been feeling, actually, when you asked me a minute ago, is probably that of gratitude. I mean, like you and like a lot of people that are watching the show tonight, I've been a season ticket holder for a long time, League One, double relegations and so on. And never in a million years did I think that I'd be going to Porto and Barcelona, watching my team play in Europe. And he's been a huge part of our success. And I feel so grateful, even if it doesn't happen again, which I hope it doesn't turn out like that. But I feel so grateful that I've had the chance to experience all those highs.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think there's a lot of, you look back at and you kind of, you can't believe it's happened, really, can you? So I think that's what you do think of, the memories, and you do think of the good times. And and I agree with like gratitude, and it is him, and you can't get away from that. Like you say, it's, the club, but you've got to have a leader, and he's just such a fantastic leader. He's led the team, he's created the team, and he's provided all of us the three of us that are sat here, and a lot of other people that are on the channel, and a lot of other people that are in Wolverhampton, with memories that you'll never ever forget. So you've just got to be thankful for that.
Exactly. I mean, you referred to Dave. You referred to, I think, Tim Spears' article at the weekend about Fosun, and what concerned me about that article is they was seriously thinking of sacking him after the Albion home match in January. Now, 2 months before that, we were in 6th place in the Premier League, and I find it quite alarming that is their response in such a situation, and it does set alarm bells ringing for the future, I think, with how the club's going to be run.
Yeah, and I think that's what's quite scary thing as well, because I don't want to support Chelsea where they just think sacking the manager is the answer when times get tough.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's we don't want to be in this merry-go-round of just new people coming in and rebuilding, and then the players' impacts and stuff as well. But I think there's going to be a lot of change this summer. But then, that being said, like if they did plan it at that point in January, now is a lot better time for trying to, I guess, rebuild a little bit of managerial in the summer than it would be in January, because it's just so hard to recruit, isn't it?
Yeah. And whatever happens, I hope they've got a clear plan. I hope they're properly still invested in the club. I hope the new manager will get the correct backing, because one thing I've been thinking about is this mutual agreement thing. Has Nuno thought to himself, if I'm not going to get the backing this summer from Fosun, because let's face it, this squad does need improvement, does need some degree of rebuilding. If I'm not going to get that license to do that rebuilding, am I going to be on to a loser here straight away? Because it's obvious from this season that things have been slipping in the wrong direction, and we do need to improve. We do need to evolve. We do need to invest. If that's not going to be forthcoming from the owners, he's probably thinking now's a good time, as you said before, Amy, to bow out before things do get too toxic and his amazing work is tarnished.
Yeah, I think he's a clever man, isn't he? We all know that.
Oh, yeah.
So I think there's a lot that we'll never know. There's a lot that goes on in the background. I think we can sit here and second guess all we like the conversations that have been had, but we just got to hope that Fosun have invested so much money so far, they're not going to want to let a club slip side. But then we all know that, Friday for me was kind of a wake-up call when I spoke to my dad about it. I rung him and he was like, football, it's a fickle sport. It's so much money. There's so much money in football now. It's fickle, and things are just happen sometimes.
I spoke to someone inside the club and I said, how a shock to you? And their answer was, nothing shocks me in football. Yeah. I think that's kind of sums it up. Paul, we've got about a minute left of you. Okay. So if you want to comment on what impressed you with the game today, sum up the season.
It's hard to say, isn't it, really?
I know, it's a lot to sum up, but you've got a minute to do it.
Okay. Well, in terms of the game today, I thought we actually played some quite nice stuff without necessarily having that cutting edge, which does sum up, as you've said, a lot of the season. One thing I would pick out, and it's not just from today, but I think Morgan Gibbs-White has shown in a few appearances towards the back end of the season. I think he looks different. I think he looks stronger. I think he looks fitter. I think he looks quicker. I think he looks like he wants to have more of an impact on the game. So I'm hopeful that he can really kick on next season and be not just like a squad player, but actually contribute to first team victories. So that's one thing I'd pick out from today.
I think that's a good sum up. I must admit, like a lot of people, I'd kind of wrote Morgan off. I think he make mistakes, but you have to remember he's still a young lad. Sometimes, especially, and I think that takes to some of the youngsters that are on social. They say stuff for they got mates and stuff like that, and as you get older, you start to think about what you're actually saying and thinking. You have to put that into context. I know that people have said that they're just young and they make mistakes in some things. I think Morgan's that, but I think Morgan's learned. I think Nuno put an arm around his shoulder and has still encouraged him. And the performances I've seen off Morgan Gibbs-White from the last 2 or 3 games, like you've seen the player that we always believed he could be if he's played in the right position. So I think Morgan might get a good opportunity for a fresh start as well in the team for next year. We'll wait and see. But I agree with you on that, Paul. And thanks very much for joining us tonight on what is an emotional occasion.
No, and thank you both for all the content that you put out throughout the season. I know it takes up a lot of your time, so thanks for your efforts as well.
Appreciate that, Paul. Thank you so much, and go and drown your sorrows with whatever it is now. Take care, mate.
Okay, speak to you soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
So that's Paul, a friend of the show, such a lovely bloke. And we're going to get on someone that's actually been to the game next, and obviously a co-host of the Always Wolves. Where is he? Oh, here he is. It's Manny. Hi, mate. You've been to the game today as well, haven't you, mate?
Hello. How you doing? I'm a bit croaky. I haven't got a voice.
Have you been shouting a lot today?
I'll tell you what. I went in the North Bank, Dave. How do you sit there? Why are people so quiet in the North Bank?
Yeah, right.
I mean, there's only 4,000 people in the blooming stadium.
Well, if we tried to make the numbers up, and we didn't stop singing from start to finish, and it was the most surreal day that you could ever imagine. We actually left home about 12:30, went to our normal Costa for our coffee and a bite to eat, and then we walked down to the stadium at 2:00, and the roads on Waterloo Road was just, you saw the scenes packed with fans. The police had to close the road probably earlier than they wanted to. And then obviously the coach arrived, and it was electric. It was electric. It was euphoria. It was obviously a lot of love for the manager and what he did. And then suddenly, as he's gone in, it was eerie. It was an eerie walk to the turnstile, almost like you were going to a wake. Honestly, it was like we spoke to fans, and it was like, what are we here for? Because the match didn't really mean anything.
Well, there's nothing on the game. There was nothing on the game.
There was nothing on the game, but because of the emotions of Nuno getting off the coach and his emotions and his reactions and the love that was shown for him, then suddenly the game became sort of a secondary thing. Obviously, going into the stadium, all the shops and everything was shut, all the kiosks were shut. You were just sort of straight to your seat, and met a few fans and milled about, and then the team came out, and then we tried our best to create an atmosphere. And I think he picked a lot of his regular starting players, the ones that he's tried and trusted over the 3 years, probably to just pay respect to them, the likes of Matinho and Sice, and all the ones who've stuck by him. And then the match went on, and the match was like, you probably heard the singing. The singing was based mainly around Nuno. There was a bit of Raul singing because he came on at half time and did an interview live on the pitch, which was nice of him. And
what did Raul say? You didn't show that. What did Raul actually say?
Nobody understands because the tannoy system's rubbish.
And his English is getting better, but not the best.
I think he thanked the fans for giving him strength for his recovery. He said it was a hard 6 months, but a lot of people supported him, and it just paid a tribute to Nuno and the fans and the club, the way they looked after him, and he can't wait to get back next season. So it was
good to see him having a kickabout before the game as well on the pitch.
It was. Like I said, the match started, and the match sort of summed up our season. Didn't really have any intensity, but I will say a few pointers. Number one, we've got some good players, actually. Yeah, we lacked.
Obviously, first time you've got to see the likes of Semedo and Fabio in the flesh.
I will tell you. I picked out 4 players just on social media. Neves passing on point. I think it was his best passing game of the season. He looked
fired up, Neves, today.
Yeah, he seemed like fired up, and he was pinging the ball about. Maybe it was because Nuno's going, and he was the first big sign. The big sort of almost like
the wonder
for
kid.
Wolves, he was a Galactico signing. Neves was for Wolves.
Yeah.
And I think he just wanted to play for his manager. And the wing backs, Nuri, I think we've got a player in him.
Got to sign him for me, Rani.
Morgan Gibbs-White, refreshed, new player, not like the Morgan Gibbs-White we've seen before, but Semedo, head and shoulders. I thought, oh my God, what a player!
I gave Semedo man of the match today.
You know what? His movement is. Actually, when Traore went off, that released Semedo, because a lot of times Semedo attacks and he's got Traore in front of him, so it's easy to just for him to play a small ball to Traore and let Traore take on the team. But when Traore went off, it released Semedo a little bit, and he did some very, very good things. And it wasn't Manchester United; it was Manchester United by name, but the team wasn't really Manchester United. And if we had Pedence, Raul, Neto, Traore, this
Johnny
is the 4-pronged attack. None of who were on the pitch for, in the second half when Traore went off. We probably would have done okay. It's toothless. It was toothless, and our season's been toothless. Only 3 sides have scored less goals than us. We haven't scored in 29 of our 38 games in the first half. We've only got a top scorer of 5. I don't think that's happened since the 40s. So these are ridiculous relegation stats. That's what they are. Ever since the Raul injury, before that we had a decent start. Ever since the Raul injury, our stats are actually relegation form. Now, going on to Nuno, when I sum Nuno up, I want to keep Nuno in Wolverhampton forever. Maybe not as a manager, just to be around the city. He can run the council or something. He can become the mayor. We'll give him the mayor's
mayor.
job. Yeah, because the thing is, he's an incredible human being, and his emotions and his reactions and his words are the kind of words and emotions and reactions we need in society. So for someone like that to be leaving our city it's sad. Of course it's sad, and there was tears. Of course there was tears. Why shouldn't there be? It's automatic to have emotional response to somebody who gives you a lot of love, and he went to every stand and he blew kisses and he hugged every stand and he bowed down to every stand. It's an incredible gesture by him, but incredible gestures by the fans towards him. Not many managers who have ever been sacked will get a reception like that. Let's be honest, he was sacked. He's sacked because businesses are clinical. So we've got clinical owners.
Why do you think he was sacked though, Manny? I mean, do you think it's because Nuno wants the budget and wants things, and they are?
To be honest, I think I perfectly think that even though when people say mutual and it's a sacking and he's trying to toe the line, I am pretty much sure that Nuno, actually incredible human beings, find it easy actually to cut ties and walk away. Yeah. Not a problem. To retain their peace of mind. Now, he's been away from his family for a year. None of his family live here. He adopted this town. He goes home. He's staring at 4 walls. Why shouldn't that guy be with his family for the next 6 months, for a year? So sometimes it's easy. Obviously, there's going to be divisions, Dave. When if you're not performing at work, or work's not going well, in the boardroom or in your morning meeting, there's going to be a few words said. So having divisions in the camp is pretty normal when you're struggling, with players, with owners, fairly normal. I don't think we should get too carried away with that, and Nuno leaving 4 years. 4 years is actually a long.
4 years is a long time in football.
It's a huge time in football. This day and age, this doesn't. Gone are the days of the Brian Cloughs and the Alex Fergusons and the Arsene Wengers and the managers that stayed for 10, 15, 20 years with their clubs. That doesn't happen anymore. So it's 4 years. It seems early. Because we thought 1 more season, pre-season, get your players back, sign some players. And if we're in the bottom 6 by Christmas, then he might be going. But, just like McCarthy, who probably should have been sacked after the Blackburn game, after keeping us up because it was a poor season, maybe this is the right time. So I don't close myself away. And Dave, you know what? I totally and utterly respect your opinion and your emotions. Everybody's allowed them. But for me, heart and soul doesn't change. When you're on a train, the journey continues. Some people get off the train and some people get on the train.
While he was that poem, it's the story of life, isn't it?
While he was on the train, the ride was very enjoyable, but now he's got off. The train ride will continue. Wolves carry on. Whether we play in the Premier League or the 4th division, Wolves carry on. The heart and soul carries on. We still go. We still chant. We still slag off Mike Dean. We still carry on exactly the way we are.
The thing that Mike Dean doesn't change. That's a positive.
Well, Mike Dean,
I wish he would get off the train, Manny.
He's not getting off the train yet. We all want him to get off the train, but he's still on it. So, let's be a little bit balanced. Today's about Nuno, about thanking him, about congratulating him for what he achieved, about wishing him the best with whatever he does in the future, and I am 100% sure he is never going to forget us, the fans. the
No.
town of Wolverhampton. He'll be back.
What he said as
He'll
well,
bring his
Manny.
family. He'll bring his family to go to the bloody Christmas concert at St. Peter's or something. He'll come back to Wolverhampton.
Well, he said, didn't he, Manny? He said, I never knew that I would fall in love with this place. And he fell in love with Wolverhampton. And he did say about going, and he said, and the last thing he said was, see you soon. So there was...
let me tell you, Dave, if you went to work in New Zealand and you spent 4 years there and everybody loved you to bits, and you're going to be back there as a person. You're going to say, I'm going to be back next summer with my family. So, yeah, I think he will retain ties with Wolverhampton, because Wolverhampton made Nuno as well. It's not only Nuno making Wolves. Wolverhampton made Nuno. Nuno was unknown. He came here, and all the pundits and all the superstars of football who are commentating are saying, wow, this Nuno's a good bloke. And they're all talking, what a man, because he commanded the respect. And the guy's just got sacked for a poor season, and yet all the fans are clapping him. So that's the proof of the human being, right? Just because his technical abilities may have lacked doesn't make him a bad human being. That happens in life. You have bad times, and like I said, the business is clinical. They ain't going to listen to Dave, Amy, and Manny when they make their next decision. They'll just make their next decision. Their next decision may work, it may not work. We probably won't get a better bloke than Nuno. If we do, congratulations, and we can't wait to see him. It's going to be another period of uncertainty, transition, change. Are we going to sign players? Are we not? Nobody knows. Only time will tell. All we can do is sit back on our couches and watch. And when we turn up to the matches in August, give our everything. Chant, shout, and give everything.
100%, because whatever happens now, whoever comes in, even if it's that Lage bloke that doesn't seem very popular, you've got to get behind them. You've got to get behind whoever comes in, because they haven't just got big shoes to fill. They've got big, canoe boots to fill.
Dave, when Nuno came in, who knew him?
Exactly.
Who knew him? We all went, who? And
everyone was a bit like, when he came in as well, everyone was a bit like, oh, I thought things were, kind of okay.
People were actually saying, right? People were actually saying, Lambert's doing okay.
Well, I did. I said that. I hold my hands up and I said that.
Yeah.
Mid-table finish.
Yeah. Let's be honest. He did have injuries and he did have problems this season, Nuno. And because of that, he suffered. That was his philosophy as well, to keep a small squad. He kept towing that line, and then he realised, oh my God, all my players are out. I need more players. So, let's be honest, he's a perfect human being. In my eyes, he's a very, very role model type of human being. But as a manager, he's got flaws, just like me and you. He all make bad decisions, and you fall and live by your decisions. And I'm sure I've said this to you, Dave, in front of the camera, he'll say one thing, but when we've conceded a poor goal or gone another first half without scoring, he's gone into that room and he's kicking things because he's probably got things wrong, or the setup wasn't right, or he'd wished he'd done something different. He'll be his own fiercest critic in that manner. So, and he's still learning, he's still a young guy. He'll come back with another club, and whoever does get him, they'll get a fantastic bloke. Whether he succeeds as a football manager is another thing, so we all make errors, and so like somebody has said, he's a human, he makes errors in life, and yes, he does. And 4 years isn't actually a bad spell. It's not a bad spell, and I was happy. I was happy for him to go, actually, believe it or not. I changed my opinion during the match, and I was happy. You know why? Because he went out on such a high.
Well, if you're going to go out, that's the way to go out.
You imagine Raul doesn't. Yeah, you imagine Raul doesn't come back the same player. Neto takes a few more weeks to get. So we start the new season and we've lost 6 or 7 matches. Come Christmas, we're in the bottom 6. He ain't gonna go out with the same reception, if he did lose his job, say at Christmas. So I'm not going to sit here and criticize anybody for any opinion they had. Like you just pointed out, Dave, abuse is totally uncalled for. Today, you've read the reports. The saddest part of today was what happened
Rio Ferdinand.
with Rio Ferdinand. And at the start of the matches, if the players want to take the knee, that's their choice as individuals to make a statement against racism. Let them make it. When you boo that, what the players are doing, you imagine what it feels like for someone like me. I braced myself. I braced myself and I held my son's hands. And it's the hardest thing in the world. There's a reason they're taking that. And then it was highlighted by a 31-year-old who was arrested for racially abusing a presenter.
Well, he'll be banned for life, won't he?
He'll be banned for life. So we started still, let's be honest, in society you'll always get people like that. We don't want it. And whenever we do see it, it's our duty to combat it and make it better, and it just proves that we need to do more and try and do more. So that was sad to see, especially when Nuno is the only African black manager in the league, so it was just contradicted the whole day for me, and it was the saddest part of the day. But head up, we go again tomorrow. We get a new man, and when we get the new man, our duty as fans is not when he loses this first game and think, oh, we shouldn't have got rid of Nuno. Give him a chance. He's a bloke as well. He'll be a human being as well. He'll be coming into a new country as well. He'll want his own, players and own ways. We've got to give him time. And if you're not prepared to give him time, then we will end up going merry-go-round and merry-go-round and merry-go-round. And I'll have more grey hairs in my beard, and we'll go through this turmoil again. So just give whoever we get in, give him some time. And I hope Bruno Lage, if he's the favourite, I hope he doesn't turn us all to the lager very quickly.
Over in Braga. Manny, just to finish off on me, a couple of points. I've been asked about Samosa Saturday. Okay. There is some news on that, isn't there? Do you want to just give an update on that, because I'm involved in that next weekend?
June the weekend after next, Dave. June the 5th, Samosa Saturday, which is basically sold out, Dave. There are 1 or 2 slots left, but basically sold out again. For Dementia UK, over 100 deliveries. Brilliant response from all the fans. The night before, the Wolves women are playing at Molineux in a special game to celebrate their brilliant achievements this season, and they've asked for 100 samosas, so we're going there to the women's game the night before. And the exclusive, in the morning, our manager Nuno Santo will also be getting a delivery, which was asked for earlier today. So he's not leaving without samosas, and you know what, might just convince him to stay.
Just to finish your emotion, to finish off with your emotion and your thoughts on today and the season, just quickly, Manny, before we move on to Thomas.
Surreal, disjointed, frustrating, injury-ridden. No clear definition of the plan. 4-5-5-4-1-2. It has been a heck of a season, and there's plenty of reasons why that's happened. This pandemic, no fans, signings that we've signed and haven't really hit the ground running, as we would have liked to, because we were replacing key players, Jota and Dotti. We're replacing key established players, and we didn't replace them as we should. And Nuno will have to take the blame for a bit of that. You can't say he's a completely and utterly perfect manager. Remember, we scored 36 goals this season, is it? That's very paltry. That has to change. And whoever we bring in, we need to score more goals. We need a striker, even if Raul's fit. So the season on a whole was poor. There were reasons why it was poor. And to be fair, we did really well getting 45 points in the end, I think, which is a credit to Nuno for keeping us there.
Absolutely well said. Well, Manny, thank you very much for joining the show. Tariski says, Dave, Manny, hats off to you guys. Every game of the post-match shows, it brings the fans together. just want to say thank you, and we do appreciate those comments. This is what we're about. We do want to give everyone a say, whether or not we agree or not. We respect everybody's view as long as you put it across in the right way. And Manny, can I just say thank you very much again for coming on today. You've got a croaky voice. You sang your heart out for the lads today and being there.
Amy, rest your leg and get better soon. Dave, keep your head up. No, not everyone's going to like you, but that's normal. Lights need a bit of darkness to shine brightly, and that's what you're doing. So keep shining.
We all do our best, mate. That's what it's all about. We just we're all human beings at the end of the day, and I just believe that you should be kind and you should respect everyone's views, whether you agree with it or not. There's a way of dealing with it, and everyone is welcome. And we at the end of the day, we all love the club, and all we want is the best for our team, and we hope that they get it right, mate. So a pleasure. I know that I'll talk to you tomorrow anyway.
But,
See you later. Bye.
Cheers, mate. Right, absolutely brilliant again to have Manny on today. We're going to get on next up. We're going to get on the young man, which is Thomas. It'd be very interesting to see what Thomas has to say. He's a young lad, obviously a totally different end of the spectrum age group of the last couple that we've on. To see how, as a young lad, that you're feeling about today and the whole Nuno situation.
We can't see you.
Can you not?
No, we can now.
Oh, I can't. But anyway,
take it away, Amy.
Huh? Take it. I can't see him, but you okay, Thomas?
I'm good, thanks. First of all, I want to say thanks for having me on this season. It's been very fun.
No worries. Thanks for joining us. It'd be boring if no one came on. So how are you feeling today?
Not as bad as Friday, I think I'd say. Friday was probably the worst day because it just suddenly hits you. Like, I think we knew that it was either this season or next season that he was going. Oh dear.
We can see you now. I think we can see you now. I can see you now, so I think you're good.
That's good.
They think you're in Ghostman's shed, like Thomas, son of Ghostman.
Well,
can we just say, can we check that? Can we all see? Oh, he's back. Look, they can see you now, Thomas.
I can see him. I think I can see him. We're good. Good.
Well, this season's been a roller coaster, and I think we knew Nuno was going to go. Either this season or next season, but I don't think this season he went for the right reasons. If Fosun, did have enough of him, then they have done this for the wrong reason. Because for a manager to take us from Championship with players like Danny Bath and Barry Douglas, who was actually quite good, to then getting a 7th, and then 13th or 14th, I find that incredible. And if Fosun were saying mutual agreement instead of sacking to make us happy, I think that they've not done the right decision, because realistically in the summer, did we really spend well? No.
No.
Marcel was probably the only one who could have started, possibly Ait-Nouri, and Marcel got injured. Ait-Nouri as well, as always. There's just a couple of bits he needs to improve, but apart from that, he could be one of, he looks really good. I watched the game with my dad today, and we're watching it, and when Traore goes off, he turns to me and he goes, "That could be the last time you ever see Traore in a Wolves shirt," because he really could leave.
I think you felt that with quite a lot of the players today.
Yeah.
I said at the time, I wonder how many of these will actually be seen next season, because I think Paul said it at the start.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them, well, pretty much all of them are Nuno's players, apart from Cody. They're all, even Cody. No, Cody isn't quite just, but they're all Nuno's players, and I don't think he is lined up to go anywhere else yet. But you could see people, they follow, don't they? And I think, like Paul said earlier, that players may now take this as an opportunity to maybe search for places to go. They might think it's their time to go as well. So I think this summer, these next few weeks are going to be very, very interesting. And it's the whole thing is just quite sad almost, isn't it? It's that it might be the last time we see people like Adama, people like Neves. Moutinho, I think, was near the end anyway, to be honest. But yeah, it is a bit of a bittersweet. I don't know if that's the right word, but yes. But what are your main concerns, worries at present now, Thomas?
There's a lot of worries. I think I've only really this sounds really bad, but I've only really been so into football for about 6 years, and the only manager I've really known who has made this game sort of incredible to be a part of is Nuno. And the concern is that Neves has basically grown up with Nuno. Bolly was most of our team, if not all of it apart from Cody, are bought from Nuno. Semedo today was incredible, bought by Nuno. I think the most likely person to go this summer is Patricio or Adama. If the new manager comes in, I think Patricio will go. I saw that, but the worrying thing is again, what people earlier said is the almost sacking him after West Brom. I think that's really, really worrying, because for me, it almost makes me question Fosun, because if they were tempted to sack him after West Brom, where we didn't have a striker and, we'd not had a striker all season, but if you want to sack someone who's done so well, 6th in the league before losing our main striker, sacking him, the idea of that and that early in the season, that's really worrying. I know when we got to Burnley 4-0, I was like, right, what's going on? But I'm just shocked by what I've heard come out. I know all this manager speculation. If I could go for any manager, it would probably be the Sevilla one. It won't happen. It will be Bruno.
What about Lopetegui?
Yeah, it will be Bruno. It will be Bruno. I think.
Oh God, Blossom is like, that's fine. Can you see me? She just pressed something. The thing, I think we'll see now kind of who pulls the strings in terms of transfers and stuff with Nuno going, because I think if a lot of those players remain or I don't know, I just feel like now we're going to see the true things of what the Fosun coach relationship is whether it's actually Nuno was pulling the strings in terms of transfers, or it's actually Fosun and Mendes saying who they wanted. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens.
I don't think Nuno has a very sort of... I think he can request what type of player he wants, and he will get some sort of approval in if we want to sign a player. But when it comes to negotiations, he will be a bystander. And I think this will be a really big sort of 2-3 months for Wolves. Next season will be huge, because there is a real possibility that we can fall into the drop.
I know. And I think that's what we're all quite fearful of. I think I've been away for 2 nights and Blossom is being very, very needy. So apologies, everyone, for my cat.
No, it's good. I mean, to be honest, Amy, Blossom is literally part of the show anyway, isn't she? And everyone loves Blossom. And, if she could talk, she could be a co-presenter as well, couldn't she? But she certainly likes to show herself off, and everyone loves her in the thing. And it does lighten the mood as well.
She's just going to feel like cats are in...
Blossom is so gorgeous.
Human emotions, so I feel like she knows everyone's a little bit emotional, so she's just providing that support. But yeah, you were making a really good point, Thomas. I can't remember what it was.
I think the best thing about today was seeing just Nuno happy. I think he was proud of what he's done at the club. And one bit that stood out for me was when Bolly took that long shot.
Yeah, and he just did that little.
I'll tell you what, that was so good. It reminded me of the company goal.
Yeah, I said
Yes.
this at the time.
Yes.
I said this is like when company
build him a statue.
But yeah, I just think it's very. There's obviously a lot of apprehension, and I think you've summed up kind of like the apprehension quite well, Thomas, in terms of what's to come. There's also, I think. Well, did you remember when we went down to League One, Thomas? I don't know how old you are.
I remember going to matches because I remember like going to Burton Albion and stuff like that, and like obviously it's better in the Premier League, and I feel that if we go down to the Championship, I don't think it's going to be easy to come up. Because if we do go down, it will be because of players. And I think the one thing that Nuno's done at this club, which did sort of damage him, was the short squad. And I think the best thing about today was...
Where's Amy gone?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I think Blossom pressed something on the screen and ejected it from the chair. Carry on, mate. You've got 30 seconds. Amy, I'm sure we'll be back with Blossom.
The best thing about today was seeing Raul on the pitch kicking a ball. That was incredible. And see the fans see him as well. Hopefully I can go to more games next season. But man of the match was easily Semedo, because he's been wanting that goal all season. And for him to get it was incredible. And
I was pleased for him, to be fair, mate. And she's back now, so I can change the background. I think Blossom pressed the eject button. Here she is.
Yeah, Blossom's bum got rid of me.
That's fine. But you're back now. We thought Blossom had ejected you or something. Thomas, can I thank you very much for your contribution again? Keep tuned with the channel during the summer. There's still going to be plenty of lives and things like that, mate. And it's great to have youngsters' points of view as well on the show. So you always talk really, really well, and it's great that you can see the bigger picture of it as well. So we'll see you very, very soon, mate.
see you soon.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye. So that was Thomas, and he's back. Just to let you know, we do have Wolfman Dick, Dan from Bangkok, Craig. We have Archie Annan. We've got Statman Speedy, and we've got Scott as well. But we're going to bring on the Statman next. See what he has to say. Hello, and you've got another different view today, which is good. And I see that you've grown a bit of a beard as well, Statman.
I think I forgot to shave.
You're not shaving till Nuno's back.
Yeah, how are you both?
Yeah, good, thank you.
How are you both?
Yeah, very good. How are you?
Good.
Good. Have you got us?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm devastated. Sorry.
Awesome.
Carry on, Speedy. Keep talking. We're listening.
No, sorry. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit devastated because obviously Nuno's left. He was such a great manager for Wolves, and he's transformed not just a team. He's transformed a city. Because obviously a couple of years ago, Wolves were obviously in League One and didn't know the direction the club was going. And obviously when Nuno came in, there was belief that anything could be achieved. And in my opinion, I think they should have given him more time because the direction they were going in was brilliant in my opinion, with the things that he achieved at the club in a short space of time. It's just remarkable, and I just think it's quite sad for the players, obviously for himself, but the whole city of Wolverhampton. It's just really sad, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's obviously sad. We obviously don't know the situation. Everyone's just felt like it's been a bit of a relationship. There's like a little bit of a breakup. That is, but yeah. we've just got to be grateful for what's happened almost as well, and hope that, I think I saw a comment, and I think they said it earlier, that he's leaving the club in a lot better position than he joined it in, which, we're going back to what Paul said at the start, we've just got to be grateful for that, because he's just done so much. And I think it's a bit, we obviously don't know the situations behind the scene. There's a lot of hearsay, we don't know, there's always going to be rumour mills, etc., about what's happened, but we just got to be grateful, and it's happened, the decision's been made. So as fans, we've just got to kind of look to the next one now and see what happens. But I understand why you're sad and why everyone's feeling these emotions, because obviously you cling on to the good times, don't you? You always remember the good times fondly, and then that's what's difficult to take when it's change and uncertainty, isn't it? And there's been so much change that everyone's had to deal with over the last year with the pandemic and life. It's just another thing to add to that as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So do you have any Nuno stats for us? Is it stats from the game that you've got, or is it Nuno stats?
Obviously, I've got. I think it's just the basic stats of what he's achieved. Obviously,
go on then.
That'd be great to hear.
In the Championship. Obviously, first season he achieved promotion in the Championship. Second season, obviously, it was 7th in the Premier League and obviously Europa League. Third season, 7th in the Premier League again, qualifying for Europa League, and obviously got to last 8 to unfortunately be knocked out by the eventual winners. And I do agree with what the fans have been saying. Like years ago, you won't even mention about Barcelona or Budapest or Espanyol. You know what I mean? Like I just love the saying that he had was "dreaming is for free," and it's such a positive saying that I think there's so many memories we'll remember from Nuno, and I think that's definitely going to be up there, which is "dreaming is for free." And he's such a great guy.
He did make the dream, that's for sure. And I think it's up to all of us now to carry on that dream, to build hopefully on what is his legacy. He's put the club in a great foundation, and the new man that comes in, he's got that and hope Fosun back him and build on the foundations that Nuno's got us to stand on the shoulder. And that's going to be the key test, and hope that happens, because if that happens, then great. And I think there's a few people saying that it's not the last that we'll see of Nuno. It wouldn't surprise me if he rocks up at some point to watch a game, or he might come back with another club at some point. But if he does, I guarantee you that the whole stadium will be singing "Nuno has a dream," and they will give him a great reception. And you can never say never. One day he knows he might come back as manager again. You just don't know, do you? Because that's life. He'll go on and have a break now, and we wish him all the best, don't we, Speedy?
I definitely agree. I just think he's a great man and a great model, a great role model. Sorry, not a great model, a great role model for people who are just getting used to football, I'd say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you want to get into the stats? Sorry, you've got a busy schedule of the show. So thanks for letting me on the show. Obviously, it was Manchester United 2, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. Shots 14 for Wolves, 9 for Manchester United. On target for Wolves was 4 to Manchester United. Both teams had 4 shots on target. Possession, Wolves had 57% to Manchester United's 43. Passes, 560 to Wolves, to Manchester United 436. Passing accuracy, 88% to Wolves to Manchester United's 86%. Fouls, 14 fouls for Wolves and 3 fouls for Manchester United. Yellow cards, 4 for Wolves, 1 for Manchester United. No one got sent off, which is great. Offsides, 1 each. Corners, 6 for Wolves, 2 for Manchester United. And there's the stats.
Fantastic. Speedy, thanks for joining us again tonight. And you've been a regular feature on a lot of the after show games. So hopefully we can continue that into to next season. And looks like you're going to be coming back with a Nuno length beard for next season.
I think I like it, so I probably will keep it. But I do appreciate you letting me on, as it's helped me and my mum through these hard times. And you're brilliant people. And well done for your channel, Dave and Amy.
It's all Dave's.
Thank you so much, mate. You two guys and all the people in the chat, and Amy, as I say, and people like Manny and all the Paul and everyone, you know, that comes on the channel that makes it what it is, and you're included in that, mate. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. You take care.
All right, mate. Take care, buddy. So that's Statman, and next up, Tuberman. Oh, he's doing the Ghost Man look.
Oh, he's very ghost-like as well.
Are you trying to take Ghost Man's spot? Because he won't be very happy, mate.
I can't believe that. That's really dark, isn't it? Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, you've got the lights behind you. It's,
yeah.
It seems to be a trend on this channel at the moment. It's like getting into fashion.
Oh dear, what a week. What a mare of a week. So I'm sort of cross between sad and really cross. You know what I mean? I'm sad because certainly the absolute best manager that I've seen in my sort of 59 years has been ousted, which makes me realise that Fosun are not the warm sort of family aim club owners that we thought they were. Absolutely, really sharp and very ruthless in my view. Nuno's record is just absolutely stunning. Apart from the last four and a half months. We've had a great 4 years with him, and the football this year has not been great, has it? It's been really poor, but there's been reasons why. So for the owners to like go to the guy that's totally and utterly brought our club from nothing to a top club again, and say on his first bad run, off you go, guy. I just cannot get my head round that. And the rumours are that there's not that much cash to spend. Well, then a new guy's going to come in. He's got to work with the same squad then. He's got to bring a whole group of like backroom staff in. It just makes no sense to me whatsoever. None at all. But they own the club, and I don't. That's the thing. But I'm absolutely gutted. He was a top man, wasn't he? Absolutely top man. And the players this year are our main guys. There's been far too many of them being off the off their normal levels, if you like. Morgan Gibbs-White today showed me something that I've been crying for all year. That waspy movement, in and out across, in and out quick balls around that last third of the pitch, and we don't score because we're far too slow with that last ball. We've really slowed things down, and I can't understand why, because we had 3.5 years of lightning quick play. Why sort of overnight almost did we start to play it slow? Man United had a load of luck again, but there you go. But absolutely gutted, guys. He was a great guy. You could see at the end that he was really loved by everybody, fans and the players, and that really concerns me for the next guy that's gonna come in.
Well, what I'd say, Craig, is that we've just, whoever it is, we've got to get behind him. You've got to give him a chance. It's difficult. When Alex Ferguson left United, he was a big character and it took them a while. When Arsene Wenger left Arsenal, Pochettino leaving Spurs, who were very loved by the fans, it's difficult for boots for the person following to think, there's tweet that I think Spears has put out today. They have spoken to this Lage guy, but there's also at the same time in the last 24 hours that he's reported on his tweet. Tim Spears, obviously the reporter for The Athletic nowadays, that there's some big names that have come forward in the last 24 hours when the positions come up. So I don't know what that means, but we'll have to wait and see. Whoever it is, Walter Zenga came in and he was a bit of a mad, crazy, but he was quite liked. Lambert come in to steady the ship. And before that, we had obviously Kenny Jackett, who was well respected, and he wasn't at the time when they got rid of him. People were saying he hasn't had the opportunity to take the team forward. They changed because of coming. You've got to hopefully trust in. They know what they're doing. I mean, I'm the same as most people. Is that I worry if it does go peak tongue, a lot of people could turn on the owners, and you have to back Fosun because they have done what they said they're going to do. They've got us into the Premier League. But this summer was a big summer anyway, wasn't it, Amy? And now
it just got a whole lot bigger.
Oh, it did. I mean, that's the key.
Yeah, I think with that, I mean, the just kind of saying back is like obviously Leicester, when Leicester won the league, and then Claudio, Claudio, can't remember I can never pronounce his last name.
Ranieri.
He obviously got sacked a year later. He was obviously held very highly by the fans. I know he was a bit towards more of his end of his career, managerial career. He's had success previously at other clubs, but I think they obviously, Leicester fans, I would have sure felt very similar to how Wolves fans are feeling now. And they've obviously gone on to do some quite fantastic things. It took a bit of time. So I think that patience is going to be quite critical. And we all know that Wolves fans don't have a lot of patience, especially now.
Do you know what, Amy? I think you make a really good point there about Ranieri. And obviously when he went. And that's a really good point because he was absolutely probably on the same level for what he did with Leicester and stuff like that. And, managers come and go. The one thing for Nuno, his place in Wolves history is guaranteed, and he's going to be revered and respected for what he's done. That's never going to go away. So you make a really, really good point. Craig, just to finish off on, can you just give us your final thoughts on the season, on everything, and what and how you hope for the future going forward?
Yeah, absolutely. Injury wise, I think that we've done really, really well. It's been awful to watch. We haven't looked like we're gonna score one, never mind two or three. But there you go. They've done really, really well. Playing very, very poorly. If they get the right guy in, it could then push up to the next level. So let's keep everything crossed. I certainly think we've got most of the squad to be able to move up to the next level. But I've got no idea why things dropped so far. It just doesn't make any sense to me at all. But you know what? You see this here. It's been there for 59 years, and and it will be there till the day I die. Same for you all. So some come, some go, but we are always here. So up the Wolves.
The fans will always be there, no matter what. There's a banner on the North Bank, and it says, "What does it say?"
This is our love, and it knows no division.
That's it. This is our love, and it knows no division. And it doesn't matter. We'll always love and support the club. And but I do want us to stay in the Premier League and move forward. And let's hope that will do. Craig, thanks for your contributions.
Thanks, Amy. God bless you, folks.
Playing on the tuba after the album as well.
Yeah, thanks, guys, and you take care. See ya.
Yeah.
See ya. God bless you.
So that's Craig, and we've got some great guests. We've got Scott, we've got Dan, and we've got Wolfman Jeff, which I can't wait to get on because he's wearing an international fan t-shirt. But we're going to bring on a first-time caller. It's Dan from Bangkok. Hello, Dan. I know you really about coming on, and he's trying to do a ghost man impression as well with the lights as well.
It's a bit late here now.
You're actually in Bangkok, is that correct?
Yes, I'm in Bangkok at the moment.
Are you from Bangkok?
Yes, my mom is Thai and my dad is from Wolverhampton.
Oh, amazing.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
So I've been living here for my whole life.
Oh my God, you've got a bit of a Wolverhampton accent though as well. That's really cool.
Yeah, I went to Wolverhampton 2 years ago for like a few months, so it's good. But I hope to be back there soon.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can have you back soon when all this COVID malarkey dies down a little. So fingers crossed. But thank you for joining us because it must be. Is it about 5 a.m.?
It's 4:15 at the moment.
Oh my God!
4:15 a.m. in the morning.
Yep.
And I bet it's still warm in the near.
Oh yeah, it's warm every day. It's like 36 degrees today.
Oh my God.
That's where
it's
all
horrible here at the moment. It's May and it's meant to be lovely, and it was like chucking it down all day today. So we need a bit of that heat. Although Bangkok is very, very humid. I have been a few times. So
have you been to Bangkok?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that place.
Yeah.
Crazy, all the multicolored cars and everything wandering around,
and the traffic, massive
big
traffic,
islands. The new. Have you been at the new palace and the old palace, Amy?
I can't remember where I went, to be honest. There was a lot of different temples involved in the trip, but no, it's a fantastic city. The Thai people are fantastic, so it's great to have you on.
Well, Thailand's a big Leicester. A lot of people.
The owners, yeah.
Leicester, don't they, in Thailand?
Yeah, yeah, with their owners are Thai, aren't they?
Oh yeah.
So how are you?
So
welcome to the show. How are you feeling today? Have you felt of the season?
A bit of a mixed emotion, really, today. Like one bit, I'm a bit sad that Nuno leave. I've leave. But the other bit, I feel happy for him to leave in this kind of way.
Yeah,
because you can see the fans
very nicely.
Oh yeah, you can hear the fans on TV chanting his name. Nuno had a dream, and it was nice to see. But at the same time, very sad to see him leave. And
so, how did you feel? How did you feel? Because have you been asleep when the news broke on Friday? Was it Saturday morning that you heard it, or did you get the news?
It's about in the morning.
And how did you feel? How did you feel reading the news?
I was surprised because I was speaking to my dad before I heard the news that hope next season we buy some decent players in to make the team be a bit more decent and probably sell some players that we don't really want to use, make a rebuild with the players. But out of nowhere, just came on the news. So I'm like, what?
Confused. I think confusion is.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused now. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So what would you like to see happen now? Is there anyone in mind that you would like to see take the job?
If it's like Premier League experience, I'd love to go for Rafa Benitez, but I don't think he's gonna come here.
There's a lot of people that have mentioned Rafa Benitez, but there's a lot of people that have said that Nuno's tactics is quite defensive, and isn't Rafa Benitez's tactics quite defensive as well?
Sometimes, I think. Yeah. But I don't mind seeing the new guy, Bruno Lage, whatever his name is, to have a shot at it. So
well, we don't know that it's going to be him. He is the favourite.
Favourite, yeah.
You just don't know. I would expect that there'll be an announcement sooner rather than later, because let's face it, Dan, you know, Nuno's going to be leaving. The whole of his backroom team is probably going to be leaving as well, from what I understand.
Yeah, they're all going, aren't they?
Yeah, although I think some of them wanted to stay. But I think the new guy will obviously bring in most likely a team, but we don't really know who that is. But you've got to get him in sooner rather than later, because you've got to start the balls in process for next season and his ideas and stuff. Definitely. So, we'll wait and see.
But this season, I just feel like I'm starting to get a bit of disconnection with the Fosun now. Like before, when he came in as the owner, we all loved him. Like, he was really connected to the fans. But this season, just like the Nuno news and stuff like that, just came out of nowhere. Like, he hasn't been really that connected to the fans anymore this season.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's the future's going to be like now. Is it going to be success? Is it going to work, or it's going to be a failure?
I think that's what's causing kind of everyone's apprehension, isn't it? That's what everyone's scared of. It's the unknown, though, isn't it? Because it could go one way or the other. It could, three ways. They could kind of stay as they are, just a bit mid-table Premier League team. They could go and do better things, or they could get relegated.
I hope not. But the worrying thing for me is the players. I think the players, a decent amount will probably leave in the summer or in the next few seasons, like Neves and Raul Jimenez. Like,
I think Raul will be here next season, mainly because he's been out for so long. No one's going to take a chance on signing him and prove himself.
I think the thing with Raul as well is that he is 30 now, which means he's always said that he wants to go back and play in Mexico as kind of finish his career off. So I can probably see him doing next season at Wolves and then going back to Mexico. To be honest with you, I don't think he'll go to another Premier League team after everything that's happened. And he's obviously got Matt Perry, the Wolves doctor. He's obviously got a very good relationship. But Matt Perry won't go anywhere. He's been at the club for donkey's years. So I think there's so I think Raul, but I think some of the other players, I think we could see Neves go. I think Adama could go.
I think Saïs
Neto as well.
Neto won't go. He's out till October. No one's going to buy Neto.
Oh yeah, he's injured.
Yeah, so he won't go. Johnny Otto will be there. I hope he comes back. I think Bolly will still be there. Matinho probably will be, but how much of a season can he do? Neves is the one for me. Traore, question mark.
He just got an injury as well, has he? Adama.
Yeah,
I think he's all right.
Hamstring,
which is about
it just sums up our season though today. Like Nui went off having a bit of a knock. Adama went off in the first half, and he was kind of effective in the match at the start a bit.
It was like a microcosm of our season. But the one thing I do want to pick up on the point that you've made, Dan, which I think you've made a very good point, is the feeling that is growing of this growing disconnect between the fans and Fosun. And I think you've hit on a really good point there, because when we had Laurie Dalrymple that was there, and the sporting director, I can't think of, Kevin Thelwell and Jeff, there was a lot of communication between the club upper management, aside from Nuno. And now there just seemed to be this growing disconnect where the fans aren't hearing from the chairman. I know there's this question, ask Jeff thing, but that's the thing that's got to be bridged. They, as well as bringing things, they need like a sporting director or someone coming in, bridge that gap between the management, the coaching staff, and like a Laurie Dalrymple type character. I think you've hit on a good point. I think I will expect that we will hear from Jeff Shee in the next. I think we've got to hear from Jeff Shee in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So we'll wait and see what happens.
When he arrived as a owner, when the first I saw him, I think like he might be a bit of a Leicester owner, like interacting with the fans and all that. Like the FA Cup final recently, like the owner just went down there and just celebrated the fans. Just like it's very nice to see an owner like that. And I think I don't know about Fosun at the moment. It's a bit of a risk for next season.
I just want to pull up on a point on Neil Lewis saying stop blaming Fosun and might decide to go. Nuno decided to go as far as we know. Well, actually, Neil, the facts of the matter is it's been widely reported that Fosun decided that Nuno was going to go. It wasn't Nuno's decision, although they've said it's a mutual thing. And no one's blaming Fosun or getting onto Fosun. I'm fully behind Fosun as owners. They've done great for us. But there is questions to be asked on how and why and what's happened, because we don't know. And if you don't talk to your fans and you don't communicate, there's a chasm and a gap there that people are going to fill with all sorts of not knowing. They just need to be open and honest a bit more about what's happening. And hopefully, as I say, we'll hear from Jeff Shee a little bit more. Dan, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight.
Sorry to be a bit nervous. A bit
no,
nervous.
you weren't nervous. You were great.
Mm-hmm.
You're great.
But I was a bit lucky to see Nuno when he was a Wolves manager 2 years ago. I went back before the Wembley FA Cup semi-final, and I managed to go there and watch it at Wembley.
Amazing. What a day that was.
Experience. Yeah.
Fantastic.
All right, mate. Thanks, Dan. And thanks for joining the membership as well, buddy. Cheers, buddy.
Hope to see you again soon, and I'll be a bit more cleaner and smoother.
You will do. There's plenty of live shows coming down the line.
Okay, cheers.
Take care, mate. Bye.
Bye. Good night. Good night.
So we've got 2 more guests to finish off the show. We're going to leave the legend that is the Wolf Mantle last. Hopefully he's got sound. And Scott, because I don't want to put him on last again, although, you know, he's waited patiently. We've got Scott. Hello, Scott. How you doing, mate?
Hi, Scott.
I'm good, guys. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, thank you.
Good. I just want to say Dan did a really good job, because he did say in the chat he was nervous. So, yeah, he did a really good job.
He did.
Yeah,
so
it's like 4:15 in the morning. Fair play.
That's commitment to the badge, that is.
That is.
Good lad. No, yeah, it's a sad day, isn't it? Not one that I thought I'd see this season, to be honest. But like carrying on from the conversation you had with Dan, when it comes to the Fosun side of things, I think it's one of them that there is a disconnection between Fosun and the fans this season, but that ain't. You could probably blame Fosun a little, but you got to take into consideration what's been happening this season. It's a new environment for them, new, just as it is for us with the pandemic and stuff. And obviously everybody suffered, not just the team, but the fans, Jeff himself. So I think what it is, Jeff probably thought, we've got injuries, we've got, all these circumstances, but we just wasn't competing, and maybe it was time for a change. I don't agree with it. I think the change should have happened next season if Nuno had failed next season. But I can understand why he's done it. And I don't think it was, as much as it has been reported, it was a sacking. I do think it was more a conversation where probably they've sat down and said, look, we're thinking about going a different direction. And because of everything that's happened with Nuno, I think that's why Nuno's agreed to it and decided to go as well. Who comes in now has got to be somebody who can fill those shoes, pick up from where Nuno left us, and take us further. If we go with this Bruno guy, it's a step back, in my opinion, because I don't rate him at all. We need somebody.
Okay, but why don't you rate him, Scott? I mean, that's a statement, but give us some reasoning behind that.
Okay, so the reason why I don't rate him is the biggest significant managerial position he had was with Benfica, and he didn't do nothing with Benfica. And he got sacked, I believe, at near the end of last season, if I remember correctly, but I'm not sure. But other than that, he's been the assistant manager at Sheffield Wednesday. He's been the assistant manager at Swansea City. This is a guy who you're bringing in to take over Nuno, who took a team from the Championship all the way to the quarterfinals of the Europa League. This guy has got no experience in that sense. Like, if we were in the Championship right now, then yeah, okay, let's go with this Bruno guy and see where he could take us. But because we want to be fighting for a top half finish and fighting for that Europa League places again, this ain't the guy to do it, in my opinion. You need a guy that's got the experience of the Premier League for a start. You need a guy who's been when he's been in charge of a team in the Premier League. He's been competing for these European places, and I just don't see it being him. And
apparently, Scott, he won the league with Benfica. Apparently, we're being told here.
Yeah, well, I don't think he did.
A little bit like winning the league in Scotland, though.
Yeah, I don't think he did. If I remember correctly, I think he did win a league with a lower Portuguese side, but he never won the league with Benfica, to my knowledge. But if he did, he did. But then you're comparing the Portuguese league to the Premier League. Premier League is a higher caliber of football than Portuguese football. If anybody's ever watched Portuguese football on Free Sports or Premier Sports, you can see the difference. It's Championship at best. It's not high quality football. There's about 2-3 teams that stand out from above the rest. The others are no good. And you want to bring this guy into the Premier League. For me, it's a bad decision. You need somebody who's got Premier League experience, somebody who's been fighting around those European places before, who could compete. And for me, like Dan just said, I think it's Rafa Benitez. Because Rafa Benitez, if you look at what he's done, he did a good job with Liverpool, kept them up at the top end. Yeah, okay, he didn't win the league, but he won the Champions League with them. You look at what he did with Chelsea, and then you look at what he did with Newcastle, because Newcastle's the one you look at, because out of all the teams that he's managed, Newcastle doesn't stand out. And you look at what he did, he was fighting against a chairman that couldn't really give a damn about the club. We've got a chairman that I do think gives a damn about this club and will give Rafa Benitez all the power that he needs in order to take this team to where it needs to get to for the next stage of our chapter, if you know what I mean. But personally, I think that the manager that we're going to get is the Roma manager, the one Jose is replacing. That's who I think we're going to have.
What's his name, Scott?
Oh, now you put me on spot now.
Is it?
I can't remember his name. Huh?
Finesta or something.
I think it begins with L. Somebody in the chat might be able to tell me who the Roma manager is. But yeah, I heard a rumor today that apparently with Jose going out, going into Roma and this guy leaving, there's a rumor that apparently he's been put on the shortlist for the Wolves job, because the original choice was
put on the shortlist for the Wolves job.
The former Roma manager.
Right.
So the reason being is, if you look at Bruno, he was the number one target for Wolves, apparently, according to that Romando on Twitter, who's really good with the information that he provides. But apparently there's an issue with a work permit or something like that, and that's the reason why Wolves have looked elsewhere.
Well, there is different rules because of Brexit now. Work permits are slightly different. You have to have points and things like that to come in, so it does make it more difficult. And the person that you were thinking of is Paulo Fonseca.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know much about him because I don't watch the Italian league, but Roma is a well-known Italian team. They're always up at the top end of there. So I'd rather take somebody like that because he's been with Roma, I think, for a long time as well. So I'd rather take him than somebody from the Portuguese league into the Premier League and see how we do from there. But again, I do think the perfect choice is Rafa Benitez, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we do have to remember that no one knew who Nuno was when Nuno came.
True, but that's the thing again. That's the thing again. Now with Nuno, nobody knew who he was, and that's why he was perfect for a Championship team. We're not a Championship team now. We're a Premier League team that got European football, that should be fighting for European football places. And in order to do that, we need somebody who knows that. And that way, you get to keep the players that we have. So if you want to keep the likes of Raul, Neves, Patricio, you need to bring a manager in that's going to fight for European football, because it will attract better players as well if you secure the European football, and it will help you kick on more. If we bring in a manager that has only got Portuguese football as his background and a bit of Championship football from a system point of view into the Premier League. I don't know. I don't think I could. Like, obviously, if he comes in and he's a Wolves manager, then we'll get behind him. But personally, I think it would be a step back from Nuno, because Nuno, there's big shoes to fill, and Bruno's not going to fill them, in my opinion.
Well, I think you're making some really good points. Do you know what, Scott? I'll put you on the spot. I asked you to back it up, and fair play. And this is what I say when people have got opinions and thoughts and stuff like that. Have your opinions, completely respect, and then come on and give a good argument and back it up. And Scott, you've done exactly that, which is fair play. Yeah, because for me, like, I am one of Nuno's biggest supporters, and I am really upset that he's gone. Personally, I don't think it was the right decision. I would have gave him next season. But what I've got to think on now is the club that I support, and what do we do next? You go with Bruno as a step back. You need somebody who's going to get you fighting for European places, and you need somebody. If you're going to bring in a foreign manager who has no experience of the Premier League, then you bring somebody in from a high caliber league, which is either Italy or Spain. You don't bring them in from Portugal, because for me, Portugal's not a high caliber league. If it was a Porto manager, then I might consider it, but it's not the Porto manager. You're looking at the Benfica manager. I just don't see him doing anything for us. Plus, you got to also consider as well, like I said earlier, if you want to keep players like we've got and attract better players of a high quality that's going to fight for European places, then you need a big name to be the manager. Because when you say Rafa Benitez, everybody's going to look at him and go, well, okay, he's won the Champions League. I wouldn't mind working with him. Why not? And Fosun's got the money then to bring that type of player in. When you say Bruno Lage or whatever his name is, does that really stand out? Like, nobody knew who he is, and nobody really knew who Nuno was when he first came in, though. But again, I take your point. He was coming into a Championship side at the time. Exactly. And with Championship, you probably gamble more, because for there, you look at what we were doing before Nuno came in. We weren't really fighting for a top half finish. We were just trying to find some consistency and then push on from there. But Nuno took it one step further and took the Championship by storm. But we're in a different chapter of that story now, and we don't need that type of manager coming in. We need a manager with experience of European football. Well, fantastic. And Amy, I mean, what are your thoughts on what Scott said about that?
I think for me, I haven't had the time or chance to read up on any of these managers that I've had there. Well, I obviously know who Rafa Benitez is, but I haven't really had the time to read up on these managers. But I'm sure it'll all come clear at the end of the day. And I think it's just what's the right answer at the moment. None of us know, and we just hope that Fosun know what the answer is and they get it right. And I think everyone's fear and apprehension is we don't want to go backwards. And I think that's what we're all kind of is the difficult. When you say you become a bit angry about the situation, that's what the fear is almost at the moment, isn't it? It's the fear of the unknown, fear of we can't all really, majority of fans can't really understand why he's gone almost. And I think that's probably what is the emotional side of it, is what's making it that difficult. But I think you make some very good points. And what scares me more is you look at the way the fan base treated Nuno before he went. Not all of the fan base. It's a small percentage, 10%. Let's say 10%. 10% treated him before he left, and then all these 10% come out then saying, "Oh, thank you, Nuno, for all the great times." Blah blah blah. Now you bring in a new manager. That new manager is not going to get instant success. Not in the Premier League. They may get a good finish in their first season, and maybe a good cup run, but they're not going to get instant success of what these 10% of fans want to see. These 10% of fans think that we should be fighting for top 6 now with Nuno, but they didn't take into consideration all the injuries. They didn't take into consideration everything that's gone on this season and what happened before the start of this season. And that's why they got on Nuno's back. So you bring in a new manager. What scares me is this 10% going to turn on that new manager before he could even implement anything that he does?
This is my exact point. They've got, you've got I wanted Nuno to stay. Amy did. I think you did. I think probably 80%. Well, I'd say 70% of the fan base at least did. I did a poll on Always Wolves asking, is it the right decision? 55% people said no. There was about 25% on the fence. There's about 22% that said yes. So that sort of tells you you're talking about that 10 to 20%. And the worry is, like I said, that they won't give the new guy a chance. They'll want it instant success, and maybe it will happen. Scott, we're out of time, but you make your final points because I've got Jeff waiting.
All I was going to say was it comes back to that thing. We've been spoiled by what Nuno's gave us in these 4 years, and that 10% think, then why can't we be spoiled a bit more? At the same time, you've got to understand what Nuno has said from the beginning. This is a championship team. It's a project. We're building to get to where we want to be. The majority of Wolves fans are with him and have got the patience and the understanding to understand why this season's been poor. Let's just forget about it, move on to next season and kick on. But because of that 10%, I'm not saying they're the reason why Fosun's been pressured into sacking Nuno, but I do think that 10% can be the downfall of Wolves. But if we're back in the stadium, then that 10% will be quiet, because at the minute, while we're not in the stands, that 12th man's on
social media too. Yeah.
That 12th man's online, and you've seen it yourself, Dave. It's just full of hate, and half of them hide behind profile pictures that are not even them. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them that the 12th man's have been online this season. Let's get back in the stadium, be the 12th man in the stadium, and you won't see any of this negativity.
Or maybe not as much, but hopefully the rules will change, and Twitter and will start to do things to stop this sort of behaviour from a small minority. Let's say it's a vocal small minority, and there's a group or a little gang that all back each other up and gang in and bully, and they have their fun doing that, and I find that really sad. But there you go. Scott,
it is sad. It is sad.
Thank you. I know you've had it as well, mate, and I think that's why Amy keeps off Twitter, because she knows it can be quite toxic at times.
Keep off Twitter, Amy. It's a dangerous world.
I am. My cat's just like, oh God.
We do love Blossom. Anyway,
I'm going to shoot.
Thank you very much for coming on and waiting so patiently. I appreciate a great argument that you gave there, mate.
Right. Well, all the best, and I will stay to watch Jeff now.
Yeah, Jeff's going to be great. He's on now.
Bye.
Right, God. Okay, so thank you so much, mate. We had to have you, the legend that is Wolf, and you've got your International Wolves fan T-shirt on, wearing it proudly, bought off the store, off my YouTube channel, all the way over in Alabama.
Yep. I tell you what. Well, I know how to pander to the host. This is how you get on, and you get that Lindsey Buckingham spot at the very end of What's Up With That. Ooh-wee, what's up with that? Oh, Dave, Amy, this is it. End of an era. It's bittersweet.
It is bittersweet. It is bittersweet, Jeff. I don't think we spoke. Was it you were on last week, weren't you, after the Spurs game? And I don't think we could have predicted this a week on.
Yeah. Well, I think we had talked about we just can't wait for the season to end. But if we knew then that the end of the season was going to mean, Nuno is gone, I don't think we would have been quite so eager. It's a no good, rotten year. This year was horrendous for us. And I know a lot of Wolves fans have been following the club for decades and have been through even worse years than this. And you and I, Dave, have talked about, I think that I think I referred to it as the Wolverhampton PTSD, because you guys have gone through serious trauma. So when something comes, it's so easy to give in to lose hope and lose into despair. It's different. It's not what we want. It's going to be rough, but this is not going to. This doesn't mean it's going to be like when McCarthy was sacked. It doesn't, mean that we're going to drop back down to League One. It's scary, but we've also are at heights we've not been at for 40 years. So that just hold on to that. One of things that I'm really thankful for Nuno, and being a fan from away, it's impacted us here in Alabama, and certainly has hit you guys in Wolverhampton and throughout the UK, is the power of belief. Dreaming is for free. And I think that may be the single most important thing he's imparted, not just to Wolverhampton, but maybe the whole league. I talked to supporters for other clubs that are not in the so-called Big Six, and they talk about what they see from Wolverhampton, and also they also talk about Leicester in the same breath, that it gives them hope that it's not set in stone. Because a lot of times when you're watching, and if you're not a Man United, or if you're not Arsenal or Man City, it feels like, you know, it's already chosen who's going to be going on, and we help buck that trend. And thankfully, Leicester is continuing to buck that trend, and it looks like West Ham is going to Europe this year. So good on them.
For them,
they could export all their bubbles that drive us crazy. So maybe they could take down Sevilla when we couldn't. But it's it was, the timing was a little rough, but looking back at it, at least the fans knew for the last match that this was the last game. Because if it was announced this afternoon after fans were there, and then he wouldn't have the chance to say goodbye. And if it happened any match earlier than this, I think it really would have impacted our matches more. I don't want it. I never wanted this. I think only a handful of Wolves fans did. But, you know, we're not kidding ourselves into knowing that there's issues. We seem like we were ghosts for a while. Reading what I am reading, it looks like some things were already going south much earlier. And it may have just been that once that doubt set in after the West Brom match, and when they had that very uncomfortable conversation, once you have that conversation, you begin to doubt each other. So and again, I don't know quite what happened beyond that, and we're speculating beyond repair with that. But I do know in those kinds of situations, when you're thinking that the manager doesn't know if he wants to stay, or if the club doesn't know if the manager is going to stay, once that's in your head, that's kind of hard to get out. And this is such a messed up year. I know we talked about how amazing, I know watching the match today, how much better it was watching fans in the stand. So maybe mood would be different with Jeff Shee and Fosun if you'd been in the stands and seeing that Jeff is there. You know, Jeff's been to more matches than we have, but that adds to the distance. And, you know, I think that doesn't help. And I think it's had an impact on the players, and Nuno fed off the energy of the fans so much. So, but it's done. It's done. And that's the bad thing. You know, we could, you know, hash out what happened, and, you know, we're going to move on. And, but we're going to stay positive. We are Wolves. The strength of the wolf is the pack. The strength of the pack is the wolf.
Absolutely. I think you summed it up very well. I don't know how to follow that. I think you summed it up very well there, Jeff. Across the pond.
Drop the mic.
Drop the mic.
I think you have summed it up really well, Jeff. I mean, I think that's why it's great to have you on, because you do articulate feelings and emotions in a way that is put across that everyone can sort of relate to. I mean, like, here you go, for example, Daryl plays spot on. Graham reckons Jeff for manager.
You don't want me.
Wolfman, legend.
Being as you obviously are very much an international fan, would you say in Nuno's era you feel more connected to the club, being obviously, than you have with previous managers?
Yeah, well, I mean, my history doesn't go back as far as others. So, you know, obviously being back in the Premier League does give more connection. But there was something, I mean, I liked Kenny Jackett a lot, and I was hoping he was going to stay initially. I thought that Lambert did a yeoman's job, and, you know, maybe he should have had the chance back at it. But there was nothing like Nuno. And it was it was from the get-go. You could tell that was a special spark. And we had the hope that was going to happen with Zenga. And I think the Zenga thing is actually just a bad fit. I don't think he's a bad manager. And it clearly didn't work. But the good thing is Fosun realized that and they made the change. So if we get someone who we see on the list that we're not excited about and we find out it's another Zenga, we know that Fosun is going to pull the switch. And we know that Blossom is in full bloom right now. Whoa!
Oh, honestly, come on, Blossom.
She really wants some push and affection.
It's because I've been away all weekend, so she's just been very needy.
You need to take care. Oh, and yeah, I was excited to follow the chairman of Bushbury Hill FC. So now that we can't, we don't have any Premier League. Hopefully, I'm not sure if they're still playing. But
no, they're just in. They're just doing their pre-season stuff. It runs the same time.
So go see Scott. And if you like Scott, cheer him on. And if you don't like Scott, boo him, and he'll appreciate it either way.
Right. So, what? Just to finish off, Jeff, any kind of closing thoughts on the season, the game today?
I got a myriad, and I think we've talked about this so much this past year. I don't know if there's a good cap with it. Yeah, there's a lot of. If things had been different, if we didn't have, obviously the injuries, but also COVID added to it, I think are the two, and no fans there, which is a result. It was just a bad mix. I'm hopeful that Rowe will make a full recovery. But you know what? I am a lot more positive about Fabio Silva than I was a few months ago. And I'm a lot more positive about Morgan Gibbs-White now than I was a little while ago, and about Ryan Aitnuri than I was a little while ago. We didn't get the wins we wanted, but we forced some of these players that we knew needed to get the experience. Well, they were thrown right in the fire. So, and I think that might make us better.
I think that sums it up really nicely. Jeff, thank you so much for coming on as the final guest of what's been an epic show, of what's been an epic season for so many reasons, of what's been an emotional day for Wolves fans. Summing it up, everyone's been talking about Nuno, whether you agree with the decision or you don't agree with the decision, everyone can respect Nuno for what he's achieved.
Yes. 100%. He is loved. We love him. We'll still sing songs about him. And wherever he coaches, unless it's West Brom, he will have a special place in our heart. Just saying, I think Big Sam's available. So no, I'm just kidding.
No,
I'm just kidding. So
he went there to do a job, Agent Sam, and he's done it and walked away.
That's
and
right.
Wore his Wolves, I Love Wolves t-shirt as he's walking out the building. But I wouldn't want him at Wolves. I think there might have been a time in the past where maybe, but not now. Whoever the new manager is, guys and gals, we've got to support him as much as we wish Nuno is still given the chance. The decision's been made. The plug, as you say, Jeff, has been pulled. Today's about Nuno, and so is the last 4 years. But the fans will still be there, and the new era starts tomorrow, and we'll wait and see who comes in.
And dreaming is still free.
And thank you, Nuno, for all the dreams that he has fulfilled. He dreamed, had all these dreams of going to Europe. We achieved that. We almost got to the FA Cup final. We've had the most amazing times. He's respected and loved, and he walks away, as Amy says, a legend. And what a send off. The only one thing, Neves hit the nail on the head, and he was very emotional, and so was Cody when they spoke, was he deserved a full stadium to go out on. That's the only thing. If we'd have all been there, but we weren't, we still got a great send off.
You should have been there, and I'm so sorry for my friends in Wolverhampton who couldn't get in, and that had to be very heartbreaking.
Yeah, it was, but it's all done. The day's over, and a new day will dawn with Wolverhampton Wanderers. Thanks ever so much, Jeff.
I'll see you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. And that's Jeff to round off what has been a fantastic show. Amy, thank you for everything, for coming on Extra Time and co-hosting all season. We've had some laughs. We've had some crazy things that have happened. We've shed some tears today, but that's what it is, supporting your team. You know. But thanks ever so much for contributing and being part of the show, and of course continuing to be part of the show next year, and of course the Always Wolves podcast when we do those as well.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, and thanks everyone for coming and listening to us both and my dulcet tones every match, which is obviously something to put up with. But no, cheers everyone for this season. I think it's hopefully next season it will be in, I guess, a different format, whereas hopefully we'll be going back to the matches. Fingers crossed.
Oh, well, let's hope it, but we are looking forward to that. Right, guys and gals, thank you for joining us in the chat. Please smash a like and on the video. If you're listening to this on podcast as well, thank you very much. I know you've not been able to see Blossom, who's been in full form tonight, getting on the show, and thank you very much to Spider VPN for their support to be able to make this happen as well. Until the next one, the next Extra Time, which will be after the first game of next season, we do wish you, your family, wherever you are in the world watching or listening, all the best. We will continue to do stuff on the channel throughout the summer. We're covering the Euros, and of course, all the latest breaking news with Wolves, and there will be podcasts and all those sort of things that will be coming down the line as well. From myself and Amy, always Wolves.
Always Wolves, bye.